Hi everyone, I'm Luke Hector and you're watching The Broken Meeple. This is a YouTube channel about board games where I give reviews, top 10s and my honest opinions, regardless of the consequences. So we return to Lacrimosa, which I've already done a big review for, and it was getting a little bit big and lengthy, but that's the way with my reviews these days. It's a lot of detail to cover, but I wanted to cover the solo in a separate video in this case. So what you've got here is essentially 2-3 pages worth of rules in the book, and it's essentially based around a little deck of cards, a very small deck of cards in fact. You essentially tailor the soloist cards, it's like a little dummy AI based on the difficulty. So you'll use a bunch of numbered cards and then go, right, well I want to make this medium or hard, so I'm going to throw out those two and put these two in. So it's a tiny little tailored deck in a sense. But what essentially happens is you create their little 9-card deck, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They will have a player board, but all they care about is the spare funds they've got and Requiem markers. So they don't care about necessarily putting cards out into the board, and they certainly don't care about, like, you know, amassing a ton of story points and stuff like that. It's more just a case of, there's the markers, they're going to go out on here, and their actions are going to be based on this. With the cards themselves, they're split into 3 different parts depending on which action they're doing. So the top of the card will tell you which action they're doing, just like in a normal game, but then at the bottom, the first arrow is left and right based on left and right for the top cards. The middle one is up and down based on where they're traveling on the journey map, and then the bottom, the one on the right, is up or down depending on which part of the Requiem they're going to go on. Now, these are relatively straightforward to understand as long as you read the journey bit correctly, because it's a little misleading at first, because you think, ah, right, so if he's here, I go up. Wait a minute, there's no road up. What am I supposed to do? You do a little double take on the rules and you'll realize that they're numbered, which means that they go up and down in order of number, not where the roads are pointing. Again, no thematic connection, it's just a case of going, right, I'm at number 9, I draw this travel card, it goes up, it goes to number 10. That's the way the journey works. It just took me a double take to realize that. Maintaining the AI is pretty straightforward though. I mean, there's no maintenance phase for him. There's his board, yeah, and it has stuff on it, but it does nothing in the maintenance phase. It's all on you, so you can just skip him entirely. All you gotta do is get his cards and shuffle them together and make the 9-card deck again. Nice and straightforward, and you're ready to pilot it for later. In terms of the actions, it's more of a case that they generally sort of get the card or get the tile and then to sort of discard it, just get the points immediately. You know, so when they buy a new action card, they effectively do the action on it, get the points at the bottom if there is any, and that's it, nothing else. If they get an opus card, they get the points, they keep it around, but then once they perform it, they always sell it, and they never perform it, they'll just sell it, and they'll get the corresponding finance boost there. With regards to travel, he basically just goes through the tiles and takes them off the board, including the city ones when he goes over them. The Requiem's kind of odd. He doesn't care about any of the costs, I mean, nice and easy. He basically just puts the marker down, scores the lower amount of points, and then at the end of the game scores again just like everybody else. So overall, the soloist is actually a pretty straightforward thing to pilot, and I was afraid that there was going to be some clunky mechanism or doesn't really make sense. Really, only the travel was a little bit hard to understand at first, but then you quickly realize, oh, that's how it's working, and it does a pretty good job of there. But other than that, it's basically just 9 cards, tailor it for difficulty. You can even tweak it slightly more by giving it extra funds to begin with, but the rest of the game is just you doing your own thing with your own board, your own maintenance phase, and just occasionally piloting the AI, which is good. It's a solid game, and it's only, you know, not many pages at all. I mean, 1, 2, 3, that's it. 3 pages for the solo mode. And most of that is just how it differs slightly for the actions. There's no extra real setup, you know, the little bit of tweaked difficulty, but that's pretty much it. Nice and simple, good, elegant and smooth, which is what a decent dummy solo AI should be. Now, it doesn't really feel that much different though from a 2-player game from your own perspective, because there's still only so many spaces covered on this board, and it's just basically like having a random opponent do it, because the cards are coming out, but it's not like, oh, it's making decisions based on like tactical play or anything. It's literally just, oh, the card has come out, which means that tile's gone. And that card comes out, which means that card's gone. That one comes out, which means that card's gone. You can't really predict what it's going to do other than knowing how many of the action cards it has in its deck, so you know that if it's done opus twice, it's not going to then suddenly do it again, you know, that kind of thing. But then it could just buy an action card that lets it do it again, so again, it's not even that predictable to an extent. So a two-player game is going to give you a bit more of a tense affair, because the other player will know what they're doing, whereas this AI is just constantly sort of removing stuff that you might have liked to grab, and nothing much else. But then if they try to make it more like a human player, it would probably just get too complicated and clunky. But you know, it's a decent mode, and if you enjoy the puzzle aspect of buying the cards and trying to get the most points in that a lot in this game, then I think solo players will enjoy it, but I don't think this is really going to sell itself purely on the solo mode. I think you'll enjoy this game better with 3 or 4 players. Yeah, you're going to be going past the 2-hour mark, maybe 2.5, but it's going to be more contested. There's more competition for the cards. There's more worry about, oh, they're going to take that Requiem point. They're going to take that Journey tile. Oh, I don't know, should I go there first? And it'll be a bit more interesting in those. Although, you still have the luck of the draw aspect, because, I mean, the card that they flip might be the one card that screws you over, and all the while you're looking at your starting cards and going, why do I not have a travel action? Why is it not come out of my deck? That problem is still here, and so, yeah, you're going to have to put up with it. But all in all, it's a decent enough solo mode, but it doesn't really change my score from the previous video I did. My score for Lacrimosa remains the same, even with the solo mode. It just gives you another option to play the game, really. So that's it for me. I'll see you on the next Broken Meeple video. Remember, you can thumb up the video, thumb it on Board Game Geek as well, but mainly get your comments down below. Do you prefer this as a multiplayer game? Do you prefer it as a solo game? Let me know your thoughts. Until next time, by all means, check out the actual review for the game if you haven't already. I'd like to think you'd gone and watched that one first, but if not, go and catch up with it, alright? But also check out my review for Ottawa. Until next time, you can remember, as always, it's only a game. Bye for now.